John McCabe. Welcome to the show. And we are live. Welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime in 100 days or less, also known as the Authority Acceleration Program. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. My guest today is a good friend of mine who I had the honor to spend time with. We both appeared on a full-day webcast where we talked about our business, who we helped, and how we actually helped our clients. He's a longevity and optimal health practitioner who works remotely with people all over the world to provide solutions for those struggling with weight loss. Maybe I had to talk to him a little bit, or suffering from complex health issues that are their doctors have just been unable to resolve. Now, as a nationally recognized speaker who's been able to share his revolutionary and innovative approach with a global audience, which has facilitated the transformation of thousands of lives with simple, practical, and powerful solutions to combat chronic health conditions and to dramatically improve quality of life. Now, Jason's primary goal and is that to help return healthcare to its rightful owner, which is you. So when I return, when I return, I'm going to have my special guest, Jason Prall, who's going to join me. So just give me 1 second, and I'll be back with Jason. And we're back. My guest today is a National Association of Nutrition Professionals, Community Award winner, and the host of You Optimize Radio, one of the most popular new podcasts in the health and fitness. And he's also co-founder of Calyx Performance, where he helps people all over the world, and he provides them solutions for those struggling with weight loss and suffering from complex health issues that the doctors just can't seem to be able to help them or they're unable to resolve. So please give it up with some likes, some shares. Give me a flurry of thumbs up and hearts going across the screen right now for my very special guest, Jason Prall. Hey, Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
Hey, no worries. So, give me the 2-minute version or the 3-minute version of the Jason Prall origin story. Tell people sort of who you are, where you came from, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I grew up in Seattle area of Washington, and I was an athlete, longtime athlete growing up. Went into mechanical engineering and did that for a number of years, and ultimately that wasn't the right fit for me. And after 10 years, I left that industry and made my way into the health field. Suffering from a lot of things myself. It was something that I was sort of naturally trained in, I guess. It was something that I had to figure out for myself. There wasn't really any solutions out there that I could find, especially at that time in kind of the early 2000s. And so that's kind of what led me to where I am now. Using that experience, as painful as it was, and as trying as it was at times, now allows me to not only gain that expertise and work with individuals that have similar type of situations, but really allows me to empathize and truly understand where people are coming from when they finally knock on my door and say, "Hey, I need some help."
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk to you off camera because I've been struggling with the exact same situation. I was extremely fit probably about 10 years ago. I sort of lived the bodybuilder lifestyle, eating that 6-7 times a day, that sort of balance of carbohydrates and proteins with minimal amounts of fat. And I was able to, I lost a lot of weight, and I was able to maintain and have a really nice physique. And then, work got in the way, and I started to not exercise as much. My knees are shot from being a catcher. So it really, I can't really do any sports anymore because I have no cartilage left in my knees. And the weight just put on, and it sort of got into a depressionary situation. Not that I was depressed, but it's just sort of
it's a cycle
that you get into.
Yeah.
So for the last 3 to 4 years, I've been working extremely hard trying to find a solution. I went back to what I knew: eating well, eating healthy, and exercising, and doing what works for 80 to 90% of the people, just cleaning up your eating and exercising. And I was exercising hardcore, weight training 5 hours a week. And anyway, long story short, I still have yet to find a solution that helped me. Doctors can't help me. Nutritionists are really, when it comes to
worthless
this level. So basically, it's boiled down to, I had my DNA tested and looking at doing that. But in order to look at that, do I want to live the lifestyle that the bodybuilders who are getting ready for a competition? Do I want to put myself through that just in order to lose weight?
Right.
That is very, very strict, and it's not really for the average person. Anyway, off topic. We're going to talk about that. Trust me, off camera, and maybe I'll bring you on a Friday session where we actually talk about that. But first thing I want to do before we get started, I'm just implementing this. You're the very first guinea pig.
Oh, wonderful.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a speed round of questions just so people get to know you a little bit better. So I'm going to ask you a series of 10 questions, and just one or two word answers, or maybe just a short sentence. So basically it's just like, when you're going to school, then the teacher would show up and they said, "Oh, pop quiz." You're not sure what it's going to be on, or you didn't even have a chance to study it. So this is exactly what that is. So what I'd like everybody at home watching this to do right now, and I'll just give a shout out. So I see Chris Burns is on, Derek Mailman, who I grew up with, our good friend Alan Brown. Remember Alan, who was on the show with us?
Yeah,
hey Alan,
great.
How's it going? A close friend of mine, Izang, is on from the Philippines. Hey Izang. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a speed round, and I want you guys to actually answer the questions along with Jason. So just type in your answers, and let's get some chat going. Let's see what the results sort of come out for. So are you all ready, Jason? There's going to be 10 quick questions. Are you all ready?
Let's do it. Let's do
all
it.
Right. So name the book that impacted your life the most.
Oh, man. The Divine Matrix by Greg Braden, I think, maybe. Okay. That's up there.
So when you were a young boy, who was your celebrity crush?
Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years, I gotta say.
So what is the book, podcast, or show that you're really into right now?
I've gotten into Eric von Daniken's work, which is History Was Wrong is a good book that you can start with, but that's a fascinating topic. Okay.
So do you currently work with a coach? If so, who?
I'm not working one with right now, but I've had a number over the years. So they've been integral to what I've been able to do.
So what's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, man. Forrest Gump, maybe?
Okay. So are you currently involved in a mastermind? If so, how many?
No masterminds right now. I'm intentionally taking a break from that kind of thing so I can focus on my work, but I've been involved with a few.
So name the person, whether they be dead or alive, who you would most like to meet and have dinner with.
Nikola Tesla.
Okay. Name the next level coach or mastermind group that you want to work with or be coached by.
Either I think Tony Robbins in that group, or Joe Polish's group, I think is a good one as well.
Okay. So the best business advice that you've ever received.
I once heard that I was struggling with being creative, and somebody said, "Follow your authenticity, and that will lead to creativity." So, just be authentic.
Okay. And the last question, it's a two-parter: beer or wine, pizza or wings.
Well, being the health guy, I got to make the healthy choice here, which is going to be wine and wings, I think.
All right, great answers. So everyone, give Jason some love by hitting the like, love, and share buttons, and definitely comment on the speed round. Maybe put in your answers as well. So please type any questions that you want me to ask Jason. I'll see if I can get them in by the end of the show. If not, him and I will definitely answer all the questions through the Facebook comments. So if you're just joining us, I'm speaking with Jason Prall. He's a longevity and optimal health practitioner who works remotely with people all over the world to provide solutions to those struggling with weight loss or suffering from complex health issues that the doctors have been unable to resolve. So, Jason, you're also the host of You Optimize Radio. Now, I was on your website this morning getting ready for the show, and I just happened to notice that you had on as a guest the Iceman, Wim Hof. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and how you actually got him on the show? And for those who don't know who Wim Hof is, just tell people what he's famous for.
Yeah, Wim's a great guy. He's kind of been known. His nickname is the Iceman for the reason that he goes out and climbs mountains in his shorts, barefoot, runs marathons in the polar regions. He essentially does these incredible sort of feats of strength or endurance to show kind of what the human body is capable of. So he's the world record holder in an ice bath, of sitting in an ice bath for I think 2 hours or something close to that. Yeah. So he does a lot of amazing things. But yeah, I mean, Wim is just the epitome of I think what I love to see in people. He's truly authentic. He's out there sharing his mission. He's spreading the word. He just kind of revolutionizing a lot of what is being talked about in the health world. In fact, he's contradicted the medical literature a number of times and proven it and shown what he can do. So, he's kind of walking the walk, and he's out there having a good time with it. And he's all about having fun, spreading love, music, dance. I mean, he's just a good dude. So
I've actually watched a few YouTube documentaries on him.
Yeah,
on YouTube, people. There's a 2 or 3 part series, and it was extremely interesting. Anyone that hasn't done so, I highly recommend looking up Wim, W-I-M
H-O-F.
H-O-F.
Yeah.
Or just look up the Iceman. It's just an amazing story. So how did you actually get him on your show? Is a question for people that are into either podcasting or shows like this. How did you actually connect with him to get him to be part of your show?
Yeah, I think it was a connection through another person. So, that's really the key. It's the key to, these type of podcasts and interview things. It's the key to business, relationships, life in general, right? It's making good connections. It's being yourself, and not burning any bridges in the process, and really trying to foster relationships, right? So for me, it was just a mutual connection that I asked and said, hey, I'd love to have him on. This is what I'm about. If you can connect me, that would be great. And they connected me, and, I kind of presented my message and said, hey, we're fighting for the same goal here. I'd love to have you on. And he was, nice enough to take some time out and share his message. And I think there's 2 parts to this. One is fostering the connections that allow you to make the connections that you're trying to make, but also connecting with the right people, right? And if you're connecting with the right people for either your business or fostering a true message, then those people will more than likely come out and support you. Whether it's a direct benefit to them or not, they're about spreading their message. They're about doing the things that they are there to do. So, part of it is just connecting with the right people and good people.
Excellent. Yeah, I truly believe that. I'm doing the same thing with this show. I'm connecting with as many people that I actually know, and then I'm leveraging my relationships with other people to try to get, people that I don't have a connection with yet onto the show, and to be able to, give back to the audience, to share their message, to be able to help people accelerate their authority, to grow their business as quickly as possible.
And the key to that too is not to use people, right? And and manipulate the situation, right? The key to that is giving things away, right, and working for other people, not for a selfish reason, but at the same time understanding that the more you can give to other people, the more likely they're going to help give back or pay it forward and that kind of thing. So it's really about giving what you can to other people, giving them a platform, giving them an opportunity, giving them a voice, whatever it is, so that, you're fostering good relationships. They are much more likely to help you in that circumstance.
Yeah. And speaking of giving, Jason has a giveaway, which I'm going to put in the comments at the end of the show. Unfortunately, I can't sort of run the show, host the show, and actually type all the comments in at the same time. So I'll get those in the show notes or in the comments. He has a free giveaway for people, so definitely take advantage of that. We'll put in all Jason's contact information. So if you want to connect with him for anything, or maybe get some questions answered, or get into a little bit more about what he does, because this show here is specifically about growing your business and just Jason's sort of take on doing that. And one thing Jason's doing right now, as I mentioned, is he's running a very successful podcast. So can you tell me a little bit about the podcast and the reason that you actually started it, and what do you hope to gain from an authority perspective by running a podcast?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was in the sort of personal health space. So I was working one-on-one with a lot of clients. That was where most of my time was going. And, I felt that I enjoyed that, and there's people out there that need that. So I will probably always provide that on some level, but I also wanted to spread my message more broadly, right? I wanted to, all the knowledge and information that I was gaining and the experience that I was gaining, I wanted to share with a wider audience. And when you're working one-on-one with individuals, you can't really do that. So, the question then becomes, how do I do that, right? There's a number of ways these days. You can blog, you can podcast, you can write books, you can do all kinds of things. And for me, the podcasting thing was the way to go. I can't, it's really hard for me to sit down and just write blogs and just do that. I feel like that's sort of fading out anyway. I mean, it'll never go away. People will always read that, but it just wasn't me. And so the podcast angle was just felt like the right move for me, and I wanted to go out there and ask these good questions of these highly sophisticated, very well-researched people that I felt could help spread my message, and I can help spread theirs. And so, starting that podcast was, I've never done anything like that, right? I mean, I was an engineer forever, stumbled into the health field, worked one-on-one, and now I'm into podcasting, right? So I'm not extremely tech savvy. I can figure it out. It's painful. So there's a lot of a learning curve there, but at the same time, it's always scary and hard at first, and then it eventually usually becomes easy and boring. So, it's that in-between process that you kind of sit back and enjoy. So, once I got going, it was easy, and I felt it was a ton of fun connecting with all kinds of different people, getting to ask the questions that I've always wanted to ask these people, right? Now I was just kind of in this place where I could do that, right? So that's really what I wanted to do with the podcast. And, part of it was allowing me to branch off and to start to create, I don't know, I don't like these words, but a brand image, right? It allows me to get out of the medical health space and into more of the health optimization space, something where I can help the average person as opposed to the one that's just, on their deathbed type of thing. So, I always feel that in the health world, it's all about prevention. It's all about what you do before the things get to a dire situation. So that's really where I wanted to make an impact. It's where I wanted to share my experience, my knowledge. And so, that was the route for me. And it allows me to become more known for that in that space, as opposed to kind of the medical kind of doctor space.
Yeah, it's a medium that allows you to share your message and to position yourself in the marketplace the way that you want to be positioned.
Right. Well, and I felt I had stuff to give, right? Yes. I mean, the hardest part is when you are, unrecognized and people don't know who you are, and you have a ton of things that you want to give and share information. And I struggled with this with my whole life. And I'd be sharing information with people around me, and they were like, "Shut up, we don't want to hear it." So I was always trying to share, the things that I was learning. And when you're not recognized and people don't know who you are, it's very hard to gain that voice without doing something like this, where people can say, okay, maybe he kind of knows, or at least he's asking decent questions, or he's interesting, he's interviewing interesting people, and so that's really what it's about, is trying to gain that foothold a little bit to help spread the word that, hey, maybe I've got something that people can benefit from, and I'm trying to give it away, right? I want to teach people this stuff, because it took me a long time to learn this stuff. It was painful, it sucked, and I don't feel like everybody needs to go through that.
It's definitely a way for an individual to leverage off somebody else's authority just by proximity. So
sure.
You're interviewing
Absolutely.
all of these people, these doctors, these well-known people, just because of your proximity to them, the fact that you're actually interviewing them, you get to borrow off their credibility, which helps you immensely in people's perception of you being the expert or the authority in that health longevity space.
Right, absolutely. And part of that too is Many of the guests I've had on, I was familiar with their work. I understood their topics that they could talk about. I understood that very well. Some of them, I was a little less certain. I hadn't read their book, or I hadn't done a lot of research on the material that they were, providing in the literature and these type of things. So I had to do some research, right? I did. So not only did it up my game a little bit to be able to, in order to speak to these things appropriately, and not sound like an idiot, right? I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't want to bore the listeners. Right. So, the key and the goal of that was like, you got to ask good questions. You got to make it, you got to sound natural and have a good conversation. The last thing people want to hear is this like mechanical nonsense that, sounds like it's like you prepared it and you don't really understand your guest very well. And so it's a difficult thing to do that. But I found that if you can do that well and keep it natural, then, people have fun with it. And, even as dry of topics as that I talk about, and they are dry sometimes, we try to loosen that up a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting and just like a flowing conversation.
Yeah, and it definitely helps when you're working on something that you're passionate about. So one thing that I feel is very important to be a successful entrepreneur is to follow your passion or your purpose and to learn how you can actually monetize it. Can you talk a little bit about aligning your business and marketing with your specific purpose?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree. I mean, I can speak to this directly because I was in mechanical engineering for 10 years. I did it pretty well. It would have been a very successful monetary career for me. I could have started my own firm, been a principal, and gone down that path. But for me, my heart wasn't in it. I had zero passion for that. I was decent at it because I was a good problem solver and systems thinker. But for me, that the financial success or the career success could have came. It would have crushed me inside, and I would have been dead. Right. So to be able to thrive in your business. I think, and be happy with yourself and be fulfilled, truly fulfilled, which is really what it's all about anyway. You've got to find your purpose and know what it is. And that can be a difficult thing. But once you have that purpose, that's really what everything's all about. And when you find that purpose, I can tell you that all the challenges that people talk about in masterminds and all the marketing things that you watch and hear, they're so mechanical sometimes that the number one message that sometimes gets left out is just find your purpose, follow your passion, be authentic, right? And like going back to what I said earlier, that's why it was so important for me to hear that word saying, if you're just authentic, then your creativity will follow. It's the same thing. If you're passionate and if you follow your authenticity, the marketing will follow. Everything will follow. You don't need to figure out what's working and what color button is this and how, at what point in the day you send this. I mean, yeah, those are all metrics and sure they work. And if I were to hire somebody out, I would be telling them to do that, right? But when you're doing something yourself, following your passion, your purpose will help give you those marketing tools that you need because there's a million ways to market, and people, whether or not they can even realize it, they will sense and sniff out BS, right? They will sense it and it won't sound authentic. And so the more you try to force something that isn't you, I feel like the lower the success rate, no matter how mechanically correct you are. So it's finding those channels, finding those avenues that resonate with you. And for me, it was the podcasting thing, right? And that's not a marketing angle, but at the same time, it positions me in the field that was that somebody with some knowledge, right? Yeah. And so it is marketing, I guess, kind of. But the best part about it is it's marketing by giving, right? That's the key to, in my opinion, the next generation of people doing business. It's going to be about giving. Yeah,
there's one thing. You can learn all the strategies and the tactics when it comes to business and marketing and to be effective at that. But what you can't learn and what, as you said, will get sniffed out pretty quick is your passion or your desire to truly help your ideal target market or your ideal client with the pain, struggles, frustrations, or whatever it is they have. That stuff you can't fake. That stuff you can't learn to have is that passion. But all that other stuff, you can learn that or you can outsource that to other people. And, just as I said before, the podcast is just a medium to get your message across. This live show is just a medium to get your message across. And that message for me, because I've gone through that similar transition where, successful in real estate investing, and I really truly liked helping the people to get into home ownership through the rent to own program, but I just wasn't passionate about real estate investing. It's a great strategy, and it's great for the benefits of real estate investing are, immense. And I will always stay in it. I'm, partner of a nationwide business right now, but I'm not passionate about real estate investing. But I'm passionate. I actually sat back and said, what did I enjoy doing? And prior to doing that, I was helping grow a business. For 4.5 years, I was a business consultant and helped them grow their business. That's truly what I'm passionate about. It's like, I need to get back into that. And with everything that I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years, instead of doing it from an operational standpoint, why don't I do it from a marketing standpoint, put my own spin on it, and create sort of similar processes, procedures, systems to enable somebody to accelerate their business quicker or their exposure quicker or whatever it is. So you can't fake that passion, but everything else you can outsource, or they're just strategies and tactics, like you said.
Right. And some of it's understanding where your passion lies, right? Yes. And for me, the social media thing, it's not really, it's important in any business these days, and it's going to continue to be important, but it's not really where my passion lies. So the social media angle is something that I don't know that I'll ever find a passion in that arena. So that's what I source out, right? And hopefully if I'm good at hiring people and finding people, then I'm going to find somebody that is passionate about helping people grow businesses through social media channels and that type of thing, right? So,
right. It's just a strategy or tactic. That's all it is.
Where your passion lies, it's okay to keep it there and understand that it doesn't have to span the whole spectrum. Find other people that have passions that can fill those gaps, right? And so that's what's going to win out, not necessarily the most mechanically sound person in that field.
Right. So I'm just going to do some quick shout outs here. Tony LeBlanc's on from New Brunswick. Hey, Tony. Veronica, Paul German, who was on Friday's show. Good to see you on again, Paul. Mark's been on. Kathy Potter. Vanessa said she would love to have stayed, but she has to run out. She'll catch the show again, the replay. Chris Miller was on. Brett Fletcher. Chris Burns was on earlier. So thanks, everybody, for joining me. And if you're just joining in, I'm speaking with Jason Prall. He's a longevity and optimal health practitioner, and he's also the founder of Calyx Performance. So be sure to like, love, send us some comments. If you have any specific questions for Jason, and I'll put them on, or we'll try to get to them at the end of the show. As you know, Jason, video is now probably the most effective way to reach people, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this show live to Facebook, for the exposure, the audience. It's where people, Facebook's where people hang out most of the time. So the question I have for you is, how are you using video in your business to help you accelerate your authority, or what plans do you have for video in your business?
Yeah. So even when I did the podcast, I knew how powerful video is going to be in that process. So, I made sure to do a video podcast, and I record those, edit those, and post those onto YouTube, not only for the search engine aspect, right? Google loves YouTube connections and that kind of thing. But, video was the thing that was going to allow people to see who I was, right? To see how I move, how I interact, what my facial expressions are, all the little things that we pick up on, these visual cues that we use in everyday life, they can come through in video, right? It's really hard because you can't get those through just a microphone. So, I wanted to show that partially because I'm pretty comfortable on camera, and I want people to hopefully see my authenticity and my desire and passion to help and share. So, I wanted to share that video with the podcast audience. The other thing that I'm using right now is I'm actually filming a documentary or a docu-series. And, video is easily the most effective way to reach people, and it's not going to change anytime soon. It's what we're getting used to. All the kids are, coming up with this stuff. I mean, the thing is, you and I, John, we didn't have this. I mean, this is all learning as it comes.
Yeah.
These kids are growing up with this. I can't even imagine how skillful and tactful you'd be if you grew up with this type of media at your fingertips all day long. But video is so powerful for so many reasons. And, if you're not comfortable on camera, or you're not comfortable, interviewing people on camera, whatever it is, either get over it or find somebody that you can step in for you and take that role, because using video is easily the most effective way you're going to be able to communicate with people. So, the documentary that we're working on right now is the message I want to share with that is about longevity, anti-aging, and why there are certain people that live to 110 and beyond, and why people are thriving in their 90s. And and you look at some of us and we're getting old at 50 and 60, and we're getting these age-related diseases early on in life. And so, I've got a decent understanding of, I think, why that is, and I've called a lot of research into that, and it was just such a big message that it needed to be a documentary in order to tell that story. And so we're going to be traveling around the world to various hotspots of the world that have a lot of these longer living populations. Yeah. But we wanted to show that, right? That story has kind of already been told to a certain degree. It was Dan Buettner read a book called The Blue Zones and these type of things. His analysis wasn't that good, to be honest. It's actually quite poor. Not that it's wrong, but it just doesn't tell you anything. But at the same time, it was in a book. And what I wanted to do was tell that story better from a health practitioner's perspective, to understand the physiology so that we can extrapolate that and apply it to our everyday lives and everything in our lives. But I also wanted to show how these people are living in these other countries and these other places that include a lot of these longevity, these people that are living a long time. So, the docuseries is, I think, the best way to do that. And these days, filming a documentary is not hard. It's actually quite easy, right? It's scary if you've never done it. You don't know the slightest thing about which camera, which mics, all the technical stuff that goes along with it. But at the end of the day, you're just walking around with a camera and you're shooting the story. And so, if you're somebody that has a story to tell, all you need to do is find somebody that can help you tell that story, understands the technical aspects, and you can put that together. I mean, whereas it may have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars not too long ago, now can be done at a fraction of that cost. And not only that, you have the distribution channels available to you. So you can use the internet by itself. You can use, Hulu and Netflix and some of these other things that are looking for independent films and documentaries and TV shows and all these things to buy. I think they outspend the traditional media, Fox and some of the other, MGM and these type of things. So this is a new paradigm, and we have the ability to put things in. We're going to take over, right? I mean, that's what YouTube is. That's what Facebook Live is doing. It's all working to take over the traditional media.
There's a couple of key points in there that I just want to sort of touch on. One thing is, you talked about video is going to take over. It has taken over, which is completely true. And if you don't like being on camera, you truly do have to get over it. It doesn't. You just have to face your fears or the limiting beliefs that you actually have in yourself of, I don't look good on camera. I'm, too not good looking enough, or maybe I'm not skinny enough, or whatever the what ifs are, the things that you keep telling yourself in the head. You just have to throw those out the window, and you just actually have to do it. It's not as hard as people think it is. Once you actually just get over that initial sort of negative thoughts that you keep telling yourself.
Well, and your voice always sounds horrible the first few times you hear it. So that's everybody. I've never met somebody that said, "Oh, I love my voice."
It takes a while to actually feel natural, and to actually, to get better at it, and then to actually just speak to a camera, to look at a camera and speak to a camera, and try to do it that way. Versus if Jason and I were actually in the same room having a conversation, it'd be a different thing as I would stare at him. So I want to keep looking down at the screen because that's where Jason is, but I know I need to keep looking at the camera because that's the audience. I have to keep sort of engage with the audience or the people that are watching this. So, but bottom line is, you just have to actually just get out there and do it. And another thing is you're going to be the person sort of that interviews all these people in the docu-series. You'll have somebody traveling with you that's running all the equipment, and you're going to be the star, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be the glue is probably the best way to put that. I've got a really good friend who's made documentary films before, knows what he's doing. He's a great storyteller. So, my friend Max Lugavere says, you got to be careful. You never want to make the spinach show, right? So that's, in other words, if the topic is too dry, you got to really mix in some color in there to make it fun so people aren't bored, right? And so we're always cognizant of that, and we're working on that. And he's so good at storytelling that I'm not worried about that at all. It's going to be a great story. So, what we're going to be doing is we have a ton of amazing guests so far. We've already started shooting. We've got some amazing experts that are at the top of their game. Insane researchers. I mean, I'm been pretty lucky so far getting the people that we've had to provide their insights. And so it's pretty much just going to be them, in terms of the interview thing. I probably won't be in there interviewing them directly, but what I'll be doing is tying the film together as we travel around, hopefully explaining some of these things, how they're tying in together. So, I'll be kind of the glue of the film. But it's and I want to touch on the last point that you made in terms of being in front of the camera. It's a lot harder if you're faking it. Yeah. If you're selling something you don't believe in, that you don't know about, that is not your passion or is not authentic, it's always going to be harder. There's some good people that can fake it all day long. All you have to do is turn on the TV. They're professionals at that. But, that's what takes a long time to get good at. It takes a long time to get good at faking something and to making it look natural. The more you can, fall into your natural state and your passion, your knowledge base, the easier it is, right? Because you're just talking to a camera, another person with a camera on. So it's not hard once you just get over the first little baby steps. And if you're speaking from the heart and what you know, it's easy.
Yeah. So just to close up that particular question, one for the audience, for the entrepreneurs, the authors, speakers, experts, business owners, if you aren't doing video right now or some sort of live Facebook Live, then you definitely need to look at getting into it, because you need to go where the people are hanging out, and everyone's hanging out on Facebook. So doing some sort of Facebook Live with some educational content so people actually get to know you, to like you, to trust you, because that's who people want to do business with, is people they know, like, and trust.
Right.
So if you haven't started with video yet, get started, get on the camera, do some Facebook Live. If you have a brick and mortar business or a business that, a traditional business, using that is great. Talking to your customers, live, that sort of thing, or on camera. So one of the things that, Jason, you and I have been taught by the marketing experts as well as our coaches is to always be adding value in people's lives, which is what we do with these videos or these live shows or your podcast. It's really to add a lot of value to people's lives, create content, and in the essence, really become the expert at, like, giving away the farm.
Yep.
Just giving stuff away, giving away our advice, giving away in mediums like this our expertise, trying to help people sort of navigate through whatever the water is that they're looking to do. For you, it's people who are struggling with chronic health issues or weight loss or whatever their challenge is. For me, it's for helping entrepreneurs or business people that want to grow their business or get recognized quicker. How do they actually do that? So strategies, tips, advice. So basically giving them the information, doing it in such a way that's genuine, authentic. For the people that are watching, for our guests that are nice enough to join us today, who aren't quite sure what we're talking about when we say give away the farm, just give us your version of what is meant by that when you say, okay, I'm going to give away the farm, when it comes to what it is I do. Because first thing that business people are going to say is, well, why don't I charge for that? No, how am I going to make money if I'm giving it all away? Right.
And that's just it. And the old way of doing business pre-internet was, anything that you're doing, you've essentially got to charge for, right? There's you can only give away so much. You might be able to give away a pen or a pad or all this like ridiculous marketing things, right? But in the day of the internet, you can give away anything. Mostly it's going to be information, right? That's generally what you're going to be giving away. Sometimes it can be great to just give away things, physical goods. I mean, whatever you find works for you, but giving away information, there's so many reasons to do that, right? The old way of selling somebody with a flyer or a commercial or anything like that, people see right through that these days, right? I mean, you don't have the luxury to be able to try to fake that and get away with it. So, screw that. It's a dumb model anyway. It's a manipulative model. The way forward, and this doesn't even apply to business only. This applies to life, right? It's literally giving things away, and it's all about the love, right? And I just want to point out a few good examples of this. If you're familiar with these people, great. If not, go ahead and look them up. One of them is Prince EA. This is a sort of poet, philosopher, kind of call it rap, kind of hip hop type of guy on Facebook, millions of followers and viewers. And he just spreads a message of love. And it's a 2 or 3 minute video that it's of him. And he's pretty poetic. He's pretty intelligent. But he's just giving away his emotion, his thoughts to a camera, and it's garnered him a ton of success. People want to hear more from him, right? You look at Jason Silva, who does Shots of Awe on YouTube, and these are little 1 to 2 minute little kind of philosophical reports, if you will, that are amazing. And he's gotten a lot of success from that. Gary Vaynerchuk, right, who's in the more marketing space, he's out there just talking and posting videos for people. And so, you need to be giving people a taste of what you offer, who you are, and what value you can provide them if they should pay you. So why would I pay anybody if I don't know the value they bring, right? I'm not going to pay Amazon and go through Amazon if I don't know what value they bring. So it's really about demonstrating your value, demonstrating your worth, demonstrating, do you resonate with the person, right? I mean, that's just as big of an important factor as anything else. Do I even like this person? So it's really just about giving as much as you can away so that people can understand who you are. And not only that, it helps show people that you're in it for the long haul, that you're not there just to take from people, right? And you're not there to do business. You're there to give your message and give your gift and just show love. And it's always going to come back to that same thing. The more that you can give, the more that you can present yourself and give away information, the more people are going to say, okay, that's somebody I want to associate with. That's somebody I want to do business with. I am happy to give that person my money. I'm happy to give that person my recommendation. I would happily recommend that person to somebody else. And that's what we need more of, right? We need the good people, the good business people out there demonstrating their value, giving away things so that people can go and share that person's message for them, right? No longer do we need people hitting us with marketing messages and sales messages and commercials. And my God, it's so done. Like we just need to get rid of that. And what's happening, it's going to continue to happen, I think, but we need people to give that away so that people know where to go to find the good people, right? Yes. Instead of buying, search engine optimization and buying, ad pages on Google and on YouTube and all these things. And yes, those are effective and, those can be good too. But the people that are not willing to give away, that's the only strategy they have, is to go buy marketing messages and buy sponsorships.
If you look at someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, who's been doing this successfully for years, he's in sort of the long play, right? It's all about creating content, giving value, and educating his audience all along the way about the things that he does and how he's being successful, and just constantly putting his message out there. So the people that he's attracting are the people that already know all about him. They already feel like they actually know him. They like him. They trust him enough to bring him into the boardroom to hire his company to do business with them. So
exactly,
he's basically giving you all of the tips, all the strategies, all the techniques of what he's actually doing. He's not holding it back. It doesn't mean that you can't be the person that does it for them,
right?
Or the person that still coaches them. Because just because I tell you, specifically what to do, doesn't mean, one, that you're going to know how to do it, or two, it doesn't that you're actually inclined to doing it. Because a lot of people in this social media age or the digital age are just still not as comfortable or not as confident, or they don't have the training or the education or really understand the strategies of what it actually takes. So yeah, we could tell people to create some content, to do some blogs, but and how to make them efficient and effective, but are they actually going to sort of execute? That's the biggest thing. Are they going to execute on that stuff?
Exactly. And here's an example I'll give. If I have a recipe for losing weight, right, for weight loss, yes, and I post that recipe to Facebook and I shout it out and I share it and I do everything I can so it reaches as many people as possible. I even promote it through Facebook's, algorithms. The difference between the success rate in that versus the people that hire me to help them with health challenges, or let's say lose weight, is going to be dramatic. The people that actually are paying me, that are willing to do that I can coach and help them and walk them through some things if they get stuck or just be there for support, the success rate for those people will be insanely higher than if I post the exact same recipe on Facebook for everybody to see. So, the bottom line is we've got to get out of this fear mentality that, oh my God, if I give it away, who's going to pay me? Where's my money? It's nuts. The universe doesn't work that way. There's way too many examples to give of how it really works. And I'm in the weird energy space. Biophysics and physics and all that stuff is my home. Yeah. So in fact, the Divine Matrix, which I mentioned before, gets into all this type of thing. But I just give. Don't worry about what's going to come back at you. I promise you that if you give with all your heart and you give an authentic and true message, it's going to come back in the most weird, crazy ways that you can't even imagine. People will come out of the woodworks that want your stuff. People will come out of the woodworks to get what you need to give them. So don't worry about it.
A lot of times it's going to eliminate the need for selling because people have already bought into you.
Exactly.
So it's going to eliminate the need for selling. It's going to eliminate the need for references or, sort of you get to sidestep all those traditional things that, if you're out chasing business, people want to know, okay, well, who have you helped? What are your references? What's some testimonials? That sort of stuff. Where if you're just giving it all away and you're attracting, you're going to attract the people that are truly committed, and price is not usually the objection.
Well, yeah, and they're a heck of a lot easier to work with. Yes. They're more fun. That you're going to get better results with them. I don't care what industry it is. So you're absolutely right. I mean, I've gone down both roads, and I've done the cold calling style of things in the past, and with a variety of different businesses. And it's painful, and it's icky, and it doesn't feel good, and you got to suppress all your intuitive emotions, right? Yeah. We intuitively know how icky that feels, and that we're sort of preying upon the weak and trying to force something down the throats of the people that actually resist and stay strong. So we know that, and the only successful people that get through that are the ones that can suppress that intuitive emotion. So that's not the way to go. It's not the people that you want to attract. It's not the life you want to live. I can tell you that. You might have tons of dollars in your bank account, but working with good people and the people that really need your help, that you don't have to convince to work with you. That's what you want. That's the goal, right? That's the dream. I mean, do you think Tony Robbins begs people to come to his show? No, he puts out some blasts and says, hey, I'm going to be here. It's going to be a great event. This is what I offer.
And they sell out
exactly. Every time. Why?
People away.
Exactly. Because he provides free content on YouTube in a variety of ways to give you a taste of what he can offer. Yeah. Then when you show up, he delivers. Apparently, I've never been, but enough people have said that it's changed their life. And so, that's what it's about. Do your job, do it well, give away more than you're receiving, and you're going to be hit with so many things coming your way. It's not even funny. And that's the way that you're in alignment with things, right? Is when you're getting things coming back at you. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're not sure where to go, give. Yep. Financially, if you're broke, give. The recipe does not change no matter what we're talking about. And you don't go out there seeking love and thinking, I'm not going to give my love until somebody gives their love to me. I mean, it's not how we work, right? So it's just about giving. It's about spreading your message and being who you are, right? It's about getting in touch with yourself
Giving
and
without
knowing.
expectation of anything in return.
Absolutely. And totally eliminating that. And there's a little bit of fear in doing that, right? It's jumping off a building with no safety net, hoping to God that you got some wings. But I can tell you that you do learn to fly, and there will be plenty of updraft for you, and you just got to trust that's how to move forward, is to give your gift. And as long as you know what your gift is and you're passionate about something, give it away. What else are you going to do?
If you just joined us, I'm speaking with Jason Prall. He's a longevity and optimal health practitioner. So be sure to like, share this video. And if you have any questions for either of us, just type in the comments any questions you have. We'll definitely, if we don't get to them on the show, we'll definitely answer them off camera. Jason, the world that we live in today is becoming more and more transparent. With all the social platforms, businesses need to be, and we talked about this before, people, businesses, entrepreneurs, they need to be truly authentic and genuine. And it's an ever-changing environment for entrepreneurs and business owners. I mean, stuff is changing at the speed of light. Technology is changing. The platforms are changing. Social platforms are changing. And people, it is such a transparent world. Everyone has a cell phone. Everyone has a video recorder or a camera on their cell phone. So you basically have to be truly authentic and transparent in your business. So what are your comments on how that world is changing through like decentralizing and open sourcing of business and even in the entertainment fields? So do you have any sort of views on that transparent world that we're going into, and basically open sourcing your business? We talked a little bit about that with sort of giving away the farm, but can we touch on a little bit more about?
Yeah. I think, especially if you're a traditional business right now, brick and mortar style, and you're doing some of the more traditional methods of reaching your customers, I think you just have to start to adopt the new model. Create an Instagram account, start tweeting, right? Even if you don't know what the heck you're generating out of these things, getting that stuff going or finding somebody to bring in that can help you build that type of platform is going to be critical, right? And whatever type of company that you are, and it probably applies more to the more techie companies or the more modern companies, as opposed to maybe like a plumbing shop or something like that, or what have you. But even then, if I'm looking for a plumber and I Google something and I see some Instagram or somebody sharing Facebook on how this plumber fixed a problem, I mean, maybe that might convince me to go down that path, right? Because what else am I going to do? I'm going to look through Google at this point, and whatever comes up first and maybe has the most highest stars on Yelp or whatever. So just understand that, as weird as it seems, there's so many businesses that are in the traditional non-tech environment that are using the tech world to show their customers what they can do, right? And if you're a plumber, that's a great example. Create YouTube videos on how to fix little tiny leaks at home. My God, I'm going to call you, if I see that. Create little funny videos, So, instead of going down this traditional way of doing things in terms of buying advertisements on your local TV stations, taking out newspaper ads, all that nonsense. You're first of all, the people that you're going to reach through those means are not going to be the greatest customers anymore. That's just not where they're going. More people are going the other way anyway, and they're more likely going to be the ones that you want to acquire. So, we don't have to buy advertisements on TV stations anymore. We can create our own YouTube channels. We can create our own Facebook Lives. We can create our own Instagram Lives and, Snapchats, and it's all there. And so find where your customers are most likely going to hang out, and just start creating information. Again, it goes back to giving away the farm. Give things away. Show people how to fix a leaky faucet, right? And when something really goes wrong, they're going to call you.
I think something that's very important, and when people are out there doing these stuff, is not to focus on themselves, but to focus on the people that they're actually trying to help. Show that story of transformation. Show that journey, if you're a plumber, here's a great example. If you're a plumber going out to fix somebody's pipe, it's not about you fixing a pipe. It's the story behind, oh, the elderly lady had her pipe started leaking, and you got called in, and sort of here was her situation, and here was the challenge that she had, and here's how you basically stepped in and helped her out, and here's sort of what her life is like now, how great it is. But showing that journey, whether it be in Instagram photos, several different pics of actually showing that, or in a video, and there's a lot of different medium that you can actually use, but focus less on yourself and more on your ideal client. Showing that transition, that sort of journey, they call it the hero story, the hero journey. Focus on them, and basically you're just one piece of their journey. You just stepped in, helped them when they had a challenge, but it was really focusing on that journey that the people had. So, getting great testimonials is really a great way that you can do that.
Well, and another thing that you can do is, find a way to go give away one of your services. If going back to the plumber analogy, if you're a plumber, find a way to go give free service to somebody and film that while you do it, and use that as a teaching lesson, saying, here's what we're going to do, and this is what we found that's going wrong, blah, 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 and show that and give it away. Give away your service. That is such a better way to advertise your services and advertise what you're about than paying money to a TV station to play some, contrived, horribly, constructed advertisement through the traditional way with a jingle and all the that's crap. Nobody's watching that, and nobody cares anymore. So find a way to do things differently.
I just think of who are the people that are getting the most attention. A lot of them are celebrities. A lot of them, they're celebrities for no other reason than they've generated a lot of attention for themselves using social media platforms. So take a lot of what they do. They've basically open sourced their world. It's very transparent. People get to see inside of their world. Use that same strategy into what you're doing. So we're at a time.
People want to know. Well, real quick, people want to know who they're working with, right? That's the thing. I would much rather hire a friend than I would somebody that does the same job, maybe even better, right? So it allows them to get to know you, so that they're comfortable, that you're not going to screw them over, that they feel like there's an actual relationship. Because when there's an actual relationship, there's much more of a bond, right? There's much more of a business bond. In other words, it's less likely that things are going to go south. If something does start to go south because you feel like you have a little bit stronger of a relationship, it's much easier to recover, right? And to help resolve that issue. So, it's much easier that way.
Yeah. Well, Jason, I want to thank you very much for being on the show. Everyone show Jason some love. Hit that like button, that love button. Share this with your friends, associated, with your business page. And again, Jason, is just such an honor to have you on the show, and I look forward to catching up with you real soon. Like I said, we'll definitely have to talk about the challenges that I have with my health rate at the moment, but you guys just stay tuned with me. I'll be back in just a second, and again, show Jason some love on the way out. All right, Jason, take care.
Thanks.
All right, I'm back, and again, Jason, Jason Prall, if you don't know, is a longevity expert, and it was great having him on the show. It's just sort of giving you an insight from his business perspective as far as growing his business, helping become the authority. And I hope you really enjoyed the show with Jason on it. He's what I consider to be truly an expert, not only in his field, but also in some of the strategies that he's using to help him accelerate his authority in the marketplace. Now, just being the best isn't enough in today's world if no one knows who you are. If you want to gain exposure for your business, your brand, your product, or your service, then you need to employ some authority acceleration strategies that will really help you get from where you are to where you want to be and attract an abundance of paying customers. And what I've done is I've created a very simple formula that you can implement into your business to help you get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, in 100 days or less. That's what I call my authority acceleration formula, and it goes like this. It's 1, 10, 100. What that means is you create 1 hour of content per week, whether it be video, podcasts, blogs, articles. You create 1 hour of content per week. You then spend 10 hours distributing that content around the internet world, and you do that for 100 days straight. So 1 hour of content per week minimum. For every 1 hour that you create, you spend 10 hours distributing it. So that's through the social platforms, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, on your blog, any of the other platforms that you can get into, LinkedIn. And you do that consistently, persistently for 100 days straight. And what that will do, that will accelerate your authority in your marketplace by giving away the farm, by implementing a lot of what Jason and I talked about today into your business, and it'll help accelerate your authority that much quicker. So if you want any information on the authority acceleration formula or how I can help you implement it into your business, then definitely leave me a message on Facebook or send me a message at john@johnandmccabe.com. But again, I want to thank you for joining the show. I want to thank Jason Prall for being on the show today. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comment field, and we'll get back to them. I'll put in all Jason's information in the comment field a little bit after the show's done. And thanks again for showing up, and we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow on the next show. All right, you guys have yourself a great day, and I'll see you then. Hey, it's John McCabe. Welcome to the show.